Are you curious about the wonders of space exploration? Do you dream of embarking on epic missions to the farthest corners of our galaxy? If so, then you're in the right place. In this video, we're going to take you on a journey through the latest space simulation game, Kerbal Space Program 2. This game is more than just a fun way to pass the time. It's an immersive experience that lets you build and launch your own rockets, explore new planets, and push the boundaries of space travel. And with the release of the game's early access version just a few weeks ago, there's never been a better time to join the space race. Kerbal Space Program 2 is the sequel to the critically acclaimed original game, and it promises to take space exploration to a whole new level. With improved graphics, more realistic physics, and a ton of new features, this game is sure to satisfy even the most hardcore space enthusiasts. Well, at least that's what the game wants to be. So, whether you're a seasoned astronaut or a newbie to the world of space exploration, there's something in this game for you. Join us as we take a closer look at what makes Kerbal Space Program 2 such an exciting and immersive game, and at the same time, a complete bug fiesta.
Why did you do that? No,
Kerbal Space Program 2 released just a few weeks ago into early access, but it is still a full-price game, so that's why we need to take a very critical look on it. Not just because you're paying $50 for the game, but also because you're not simply buying a game, you're investing into something that is far from done at the moment. I don't really want to talk about the things that Kerbal Space Program 2 is promising you, but I want to focus on what you get right now. Because at the moment, you're paying for what you get. While Kerbal Space Program 1 had a dedicated story mode with a lot of things to do, in Kerbal Space Program 2 you only have a sandbox at the moment. But don't get me wrong, this sandbox is amazing when it works. But we'll talk about that in a second. For now, you get a good-looking game that does let you take the part of Elon Musk if you want to. You have the ability to build rockets at the moment, or you have the ability to build planes. Both of those are very basic. Basic in the meaning of you have like a few different propellants, you have a few different rocket stages, and then you can build these things like Lego. So you can build ballistic rockets if you want to, you can build rockets that fly into space, you can build planes that fly around in the atmosphere, you can build planes on top of rockets that then fly around in space. Or you can build rockets on planes if you want to. Like, you can start your rockets in the atmosphere from a plane if you want to. I don't have video for that, but you can imagine.
do slow burn. Actually, I think this is all we need.
Kerbal Space Program 2 delivers what it delivers to about 80% in a very good looking environment. We don't talk about that the Kerbals are actually only having a space program and nothing else on their planet. But hey, maybe in the future you will be also able to build ships, since you actually can start a ship now in Kerbal Space Program 2. I guess the reason behind that are SpaceX's drone ships with which they are catching the lower stages on water. But ships are not available at the moment. Rumors say that even submarines would be possible. So here we're stuck with rockets. And rockets are really cool already. You can build multiple staged rockets. You can fly into the orbit of Kerbin, which is our main planet. Or you can fly to the Mun. And you can fly to every other planet in this solar system. Future plans are to add more solar systems into the game. So the developers are actually aiming for multi-solar system flight. But for now, we don't have that.
Whoa, whoa, that's close. Woo, hi, man.
What we also don't have is an atmosphere. We have like the impact of an atmosphere or an air-filled atmosphere around the planet when we're flying in this atmosphere. So you have the air resistance that you need to calculate in when you're doing flights in an atmosphere. But for example, the heat buildup is not yet implemented into the game. Implemented into the game are at the moment just 4 facilities. The Kerbal Space Center itself, a training center, the vehicle assembly building, and a tracking station. Let's go through all of these. The Kerbal Space Center is basically just the main menu. From here you can take a look around the surrounding of your space launch facility and see all the other buildings that are available. There are more buildings on the map than you can click on right now. That means maybe that they're adding more into the game, but for now we have the training center, the tracking station, and the vehicle assembly building. We're starting with the training center. The training center is your basic tutorial. There are at the moment 21 tutorials which teach you the absolute basics of spaceflight and rocket building. Absolute basics because once you are in the real deal, things work a little bit different. But for training reasons, they are actually nice, they are narrated, and they are a lot of fun to play through, and you even learn some things about spaceflight which you maybe didn't heard before. The next station I want to show you is the tracking station. The tracking station is basically your menu in space, and it shows you a list of all the stellar objects and all the things that are around it. So people, debris, vehicles, things like your satellites, your spaceships, or your planes are all in the list of the tracking station. At the moment there are a few problems. You cannot rename things in the tracking station, for example. Before this patch you couldn't delete debris, and at the moment it doesn't really make any sense to get all the stuff back to the Kerbal Space Center because there is no money involved. This is just an open sandbox. There are no resources or anything. The next building is the vehicle assembly building, and this is the most important for this sandbox because here you are building your rockets and your planes. And this is where the fun starts. I can sit there in this building for hours and build rockets and think about the stages and think about what I need for my plans that I made on Paint and that I completely detailed out, and I'm having this Paint plan and then I'm trying to build a rocket that fits this plan with all the needs and all the steps, and it's just a lot of fun. And doing this looks also fantastic. Like all the parts are well designed, they fit together when there's not a visual bug that is appearing. It sometimes happens that parts are not connected to each other, but reconnecting them is most of the time fixing the issue. So at the moment you are able to build, like I said, those rockets. You can build unmanned drones, you can build probes, you can even start and assemble a space station around in the orbit. Haven't tried that so far, but this would be the next step that I take. Oh! Since Kerbal Space Program 2 is just a sandbox, you do not have tasks. You need to do your tasks your own. So that means people that need guidance to be able to enjoy a game will possibly not be able to enjoy Kerbal Space Program 2. I also had that fear, but then I decided to do something that we already did on Earth. So I decided on making my own missions by just retracting the steps that we already took on Earth. So my first step was building a satellite and shoot a satellite into our orbit, into the main planet's orbit. After I done that, I shot the second satellite into orbit. And then I felt, I need to go a little bit further. And then I shot a satellite into the orbit of the moon, or in Kerbal Space Program called the Mun. Then we started our first manned missions, so I sent a Kerbal into our own orbit. The next step is I sent a Kerbal into the orbit of the Mun. I have not come to that point, but the next step would be landing on the Mun and then coming back to our main planet. So without making your own missions, you are pretty lost in the game. As I was in the first few hours, I had no idea what to do. But with the help of my chat and with a little bit of creativity, it all started to be a nice journey. If there weren't massive problems, a few massive problems and a lot of minor problems. And I don't want to hold back on that. I think you deserve to know this because, like I said, $50 for this game, full price, early access, we all know the story. And Kerbal Space Program 2 is filled with bugs at the moment. I hope that they are working on it. The first big patch that we're already in, 0.1.1, is fixing a few things, but not all. One of the biggest issues with the game at the moment is just that I have absolutely no idea if my build is wrong or I run into a bug. I don't really like to just simply stuff things together in a rocket and then just build something else and repeat the process. Trial and error is not really my thing. I like to go through these rocket buildings step by step. And when something's not working, I'm questioning myself, did I did that wrong or did the game did that wrong? Sometimes I think it's the game. Sometimes I find out that it's me, but I can't be sure at this moment. And that's just because, number 2, parts are not doing what they should do. Again, I can't tell if it's a problem of the game or if it's a problem of me just simply building rockets. Because let's be honest, I'm not a rocket scientist. And people in my stream say that other people also have these kind of issues. But again, if I'm honest, how many of those people are rocket scientists? So I would still doubt at the end if it's a problem of the game or if it's a problem of just me unable building a good rocket.
This is not how it should, not how it was planned. And where's my satellite?
Sometimes it's pretty obvious. Point number 3 that I have on my list is when camera bugs lead to false inputs. That's just when your camera should be different than it is at the moment on your screen. And the inputs you do are leading to a completely different direction than you would have expected from the view that you have on this rocket. And once you're in flight, number 4 can happen. And this is the absolute most frustrating one. That rockets often start spinning without any reason. Sometimes, and I'm completely honest, it's the fault of the operator. I had wings that had a starting angle of minus 15 degrees. I don't know why, the game just set it to that. And then the rocket starts to spin directly off the starting pad. And I had no clue why. After I saw this hidden setting in the menu of that one specific part. But apart from that, rockets can just start spinning without reason, either by using reaction wheels that should stabilize the rocket, or by using thrusters. And then there should be a computer system called SAS that again should automatically point the rocket into the direction you want it to fly. You have a few specific points that you can set, and there the rocket should be flying. But it doesn't, and it starts spinning, and you're getting mad because you have no idea what's going on. Everything's there. You have battery power, you have a stabilizer, you have thrusters, you have everything, but the rocket just does not do what you want. And that is very frustrating.
That's a problem.
Once you pass all these troubles and you're actually flying to another planet or to another object like the Mon, this game is just gorgeous. Like, you do your mission plans, you plan for when the engine to ignite, you plan for when to go into orbit, you plan for when to go out of orbit, where to land and stuff like that. It's just so much fun once you get the grip of it. But the path can be extremely frustrating.
Yay! First manned mission to the Mon. And it worked! Woohoo!
And here I just have to be the old guy that tells you rocket science can be frustrating. But rocket science should not be frustrating because it's not working how it's intended to work. That's enough roasting, but you should know these things, especially because the game started in early access in full price. So if you know Kerbal Space Program 1 and you know what the developers are capable of, then you are seeing the price of Kerbal Space Program 2 as an investment into the future. If KSP2 is your first KSP, then I highly advise you to wait and see what the developers are bringing into the game. We could be talking about way more points in Kerbal Space Program 2, but so far I think this is a good first review for the game, as it just started in early access. We just had the first major patch, and we just simply don't know where the journey is going to. Things like building boats, more than just one solar system. There's even multiplayer being rumored. There are so many things that are in the list, but the developer does really need to deliver first. So you want my recommendation? My recommendation is, you know, Kerbal Space Program 1, you had a lot of fun with it, and you see the price of Kerbal Space Program 2 as an investment into a hopefully good game, go for it. If you like to have a good time in a game that is done, that is not a headache, that is not frustrating just because of things that the game does, you should not spend that much money at the moment and wait for the game to be better developed. At this time, if you are interested in what you see and you like the idea of it, Kerbal Space Program 1 is very often on sale right now. There are a lot of mods. There's a career mode. There's all the good things. The physics and everything are the same. Physics don't change. It's just the look that you're buying here. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, go and hit the subscribe button and come back to this channel. And if you'd like to see even more, twitch.tv/CaptainConnons. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful time in space. See you then.